Okay, well, good morning, everybody. I have the pleasure of being here, and I wanted to thank VMware particularly for the invite to share the stage with them, to give you HP's insights into virtualization, and as VMware would put it, the path to the cloud. I have the benefit of being a native English speaker. But I would say that I'm not actually English, I'm Welsh, so I also do understand what it's like to be from a smaller country than many of, say, the American speakers that you may get standing in front of you. Just 3 million people live in Wales. I don't live there anymore, I live in England, but I do have the insight into what it's like to be in a smaller country. One of the data points that was given right at the very beginning was a virtual server is now born, as they say, every 6 seconds. Wow. I think that's more that's more servers or virtual servers born than American citizens. It's a huge number. But there needs to be an infrastructure that the virtual servers need to sit upon. And one data point I'd give you just from HP ships a server every 11 seconds. So that's a physical server just from HP. Now that's just the servers. Of course, for your infrastructure, you need to have the networking, you need to have the power and cooling, you need to have the storage, you need to have the management. So it's a huge environment opportunity that we jointly have to utilize the infrastructure together with our colleagues from VMware. You may or may not know, but VMware is running these shows across the whole of EMEA. HP is supporting them across over 23 different countries. So that, I hope, will demonstrate the incredibly strong partnership that we have. I'll spend maybe half an hour running through some of the IT challenges and some of the things that HP is doing to address those challenges. I will touch upon what we've introduced, and that is a virtual system that comprises of everything that you would need to get yourselves up into this new virtual world. We'll move into developing the cloud, and then we'll think about some next steps, because we'd like you to come and talk to us and to talk to many of our partners to understand how you can best get on the virtualization path and on the cloud. HP, we believe, we're transforming the industry together with partners such as VMware, but we're transforming the underlying infrastructure because we believe it fundamentally needs to change. We're doing it across HP networking. You've seen through the acquisition of 3PAR, HP's portfolio expands dramatically. But not only expands, but we fundamentally believe that we need a different networking architecture than has been the prevailing architecture for many years. We believe we need to flatten the networking, and we believe we've got the right offerings and products to do that. We believe storage needs to change. Storage in the virtual world and in the cloud world is becoming more and more unstructured. And this is fundamentally different than the way in which we've been used to deploying storage in the past. We'd invite you to come and talk to us about our offerings, particularly 3PAR, an acquisition that HP made slightly over a year ago. And 3PAR has had tremendous success prior to the HP acquisition in the service provider market. And if you just think about that service provider market and how different it is to a traditional market, you can start to understand how you, in your environments, are starting to deploy storage in a fundamentally different way than you may have done maybe 10 or even 5 years ago. And the servers themselves, we believe they need to change. And we embarked on a project And we called it a project because it wasn't just us as HP bringing out point solutions or new generation products. We wanted to embark upon a project or a series of projects to change how servers are built, how they're deployed, and how they're managed. The 3 projects that we brought about was one called Project Odyssey. Project Odyssey is all about HP taking some of the mission-critical capabilities that we have in our very high-end servers and bringing that into the x86 servers. You heard in the last presentation how the world is moving into an x86 world. Another project was Project Moonshot. Project Moonshot is fundamentally changing the design architecture of a server, utilizing incredibly low power, low cost processors, sharing many of the infrastructures and many of the components that were previously dedicated to one particular processor. With working with our colleagues, the likes of ARM, you'll start to see products becoming available from HP in the coming months and years. And the final project was what we announced in February of this year, and that has allowed us to bring the first incarnation of the Generation 8 servers. We will have a Generation 8 server out there in the lobby for you to have a look at and to see how fundamentally it is different physically, and some of the things and the changes that we've made to those servers, not just putting the latest and greatest processor from our colleagues from Intel, and more recently, just 2 days ago, from AMD, but changing the architecture of the server to make it far more manageable, far more interchangeable than it's ever been before. So we believe as HP we will drive this market, and together with the ecosystem of partners that we have, we will hopefully serve our customers' needs, and many of our partners are in the room again. Just yesterday, we announced Generation 8 servers, as I mentioned, and we announced a new benchmark together with our colleagues from VMware. We now hold the #1 spot in terms of VM mark. And that really is showing how we can deliver performance for your virtual infrastructure. A quote on the right-hand side there from Victorio, from the Vice President of the End User Computing. This is the thing that we call virtual desktop, end user computing, showing how HP VMware believes is leading the way here too. So as I mentioned, we believe that virtualization does require a new strategy, and we believe that it will be built upon a converged infrastructure. Now, HP announced our intent and our converged infrastructure around 4 years ago. And now it's pretty hard to go onto Google, to go onto your favorite search engine, and you type in converged infrastructure, and hey, no surprise, almost all of our competitors are talking about converged infrastructure. So, I guess if somebody's going to copy us, it's the sincerest form of flattery, but we do fundamentally believe that this convergence is what we need what needs to happen in the industry. The convergence of storage, I've mentioned servers, convergence of networking, and we need and the power and cooling, and we need to manage all of that. We have a strong heritage in building each of those individual silos, and HP, like many others, has been guilty of developing solutions based upon those silos. What now is changing is we're bringing that together in a converged environment. So it's not just HP saying, isn't it great if we could do it? What we're now doing is we're actually building offerings to bring to market based upon that real convergence. We have HP application systems or HP app systems, where we take everything from the application to the operating environment, to the virtual environment, to the underlying hardware, networking, power and cooling, and bringing that to market as one entity. We have HP Virtual System, a virtual system which I'll talk about in a moment, that has been built from the ground up specifically for a virtual environment, comprising everything that you need. And the ultimate there, what we really have at the top end, is if you're ready to move into the cloud, we have HP Cloud System, a full portfolio of offerings that is effectively a cloud in a box or in a rack. Now, this is built upon a foundation, okay? An incredibly strong foundation built with partners such as VMware, Microsoft, and many others. But the foundation of the hardware is something which we as HP, we're very proud of. But we'd also like to thank you, our customers, and our partners for voting by making us #1 in the x86 world. Across the world, we have over 33% market share. In EMEA, it's a lot higher, or Europe, Middle East, and Africa, it's a lot higher. It's nearer 45%. We have incredibly strong leadership in the bladed architecture. So again, in EMEA, we have 55% market share, or 56% market share, over 50% in pretty much all of the countries that we operate in. If we look at the virtual world, and again, you could look at IDC data for any of this, 41% of all virtual servers land on HP. And that's where we believe we can bring virtual systems to market to help you. Cloud system, if you go out and to look into the networking world or out into the internet world, 8 out of 10 of the most visited sites underneath is powered by HP. The social media sites, 3 out of the 4 leading sites out there in the world today have HP underlying and underpowering them. And so empowering them. And if you want to again look at your environment and looking to build new data centers, we would strongly encourage you to look at a different way of building data centers. Rather than the bricks and mortar that maybe you're used to, we have performance-optimized data centers that are incredibly efficient and will deliver real cost benefits and power savings to you should you need to have that. And VMware is exploding on this environment. And you've heard the growth figures earlier today from VMware. And this is just giving you an indication of some of the applications that are now being virtualized that maybe previously may not have thought that those were the right applications or they were too mission critical. The world is now changing. These applications are being virtualized, and they're being virtualized on VMware. Canalys recently did a study of SMBs, which may be more applicable to your environment, the small to medium business. And it was there found that 75% of all SMBs over the next 3 years were planning on virtualizing, or they either were virtualizing or were planning on virtualizing 80% of their applications. So you're not alone if you're starting to go to the virtualized world, and we hope, with all humility, that you come to that world with HP. So many people would say, well, hey, come on, so what's different about HP when we're working with VMware? And I often get asked the question, so what is HP's relationship? And the answer is it's multifaceted. We have many relationships. We are a technology alliance partner of VMware's. That ensures that the servers, the storage, the networking is fully compliant, fully tested, and works with VMware. We have certified more servers than anybody else in the marketplace, together with our storage as well. So we're a technology alliance partner. And the networking, not forgetting. We're actually a reseller of VMware. So for those accounts that wish to purchase directly from HP, we can resell directly just as a reseller, as an arm of HP that does that. Where we see most of the offering, however, is in our OEM business. So we OEM VMware. So you can purchase VMware either directly or through our channel organization, through our partners. VMware lines up with HP product, backed up by HP support. That's a huge business. We are VMware's largest OEM partner. So the integration of our two companies is, I would argue, is like no other. Incredibly strong. And a few numbers there. 50% of customers choose ProLiant as the underlying hardware which they will base VMware on. And we've worked together, I would say, for, it says over 10 years, it's almost 11 years. I personally have worked with VMware for over 7 years, and have found them to be a fantastic partner. And I hope you also will too, but I also hope that coming with HP, you'll take advantage of that strong relationship. So I mentioned virtual system for VMware. This is a quote from Paul Maritz. Paul Maritz runs VMware worldwide. He's the CEO. And I'll let you read it, but there is very strong endorsement from VMware of the work that HP is doing with VMware to build these virtual systems. And what is a virtual system? As I mentioned, it's taking all of those components that you may require and not just packaging them up, which we could of course do, but it's taking the right components and ensuring that it's a right fit for your requirements. So we've taken the best of our engineers' knowledge, the best of VMware's engineers' knowledge, and built these systems such that if you were in the traditional worlds that's shown on the top of the chart, where if you don't have virtual system, and that's okay, because many people don't, you have to research what you require, you have to develop and propose a design for what that virtual system is going to look like, order the components. If you have a friendly channel partner, make sure those components are built for you in the right way. Make sure all the firmware is up to date. We all know how much of a pain that can be. And make sure you test it, make sure it is giving the performance that you require, and if it isn't, maybe you need to go back and order more memory, order more storage, and that's okay, but it does take time. We believe with virtual system, it's the fastest time to deploy. So you choose your virtual system. It's not a fixed configuration like many people put into the market, incredibly flexible. But you choose your virtual system. We have 3 main ones you choose from, but within that, you can choose your components. We have sizing guides that won't let you step outside and move into something that may not deliver the right performance. So we make sure that it all works together. We build it. We can build it in our factory based in the Czech Republic. We configure it, we test it, we cable it, and we deliver it as one complete solution. Many customers are finding that that is the optimal way to get and speed up their path into the virtual world. And obviously there's components of that. On the left-hand side, showing components of the infrastructure that I mentioned, that converged infrastructure of the rack system or the bladed system. The majority of these are bladed systems due to the virtual connect capabilities that really play incredibly well in a virtual environment. We build it with the storage area networks. We build it with the networking that you require and deliver it as one complete solution. We have deep management, which I'll cover in a second, but deep management integrating, if you're a VMware customer, integrating, as you may well know, into VMware vCenter. We build it with the VMware infrastructure itself, VMware vSphere, vSphere 5, vCenter for the management of that, together with the HP management tools, linking straight into that. And if you so require, with our channel partners or direct, we can build the services and support that sit around that. And it's HP that is supporting you. You're not having to go to the various vendors that you may choose from to support the networking, the storage, the VMware, the underlying servers themselves. We support the whole thing. And I did mention earlier that we believe that the networking needs to fundamentally change. That we'd love to talk to you a little more about how we think that the traditional 3-tier networking architecture, really, whilst it's not wrong, it may not be the right architecture as we move into the virtual world. As most of the traffic in the virtual world, as we now see, is not moving north-south, as it's sometimes referred, from the server into the data center and up into another data center and back out again and down. Much of the traffic now is moving between server and server. And acknowledging that, we believe there needs to be a fundamental difference in the way we architect that. So together with some of the technologies that we have, we hope we can convince you that that is the right approach. We have Flex Fabric virtual system with Virtual Connect. There will be a session actually this afternoon specifically around Virtual Connect and how Virtual Connect operates within the VMware environment that I think you'll find is incredibly interesting. Together with the HP networking, we believe we can flatten as much as possible by flattening, increasing the levels of performance that you can expect. But one thing just to think about as well is as we're moving into this virtual world, security becomes ever more important. We have an offering through the acquisition, again, of 3PAR with Tipping Point, which is, and before actually HP acquired 3Com for the Tipping Point, this was a solution that was totally integrated into VMware. So again, for the VMware customers that are already using things like vShield, HP Tipping Point builds on top of what you can do with vShield and will ensure that you've got full security backed up by the award-winning DV Labs. So we believe we can get up to 7 times greater vulnerability or reduce the vulnerability by 7 times by measuring and understanding where there may be security issues going between even one virtual machine that's sitting on a physical server to another virtual machine sitting on that same server. So once again, we'd love to talk to you because we think that security is going to be one of those key headaches that if you don't address in the virtual world, it's going to become even more critical. And I mentioned management. Management is critical. And management through the VMware vCenter is absolutely great for managing virtual machines. However, virtual machines sit on physical servers. And if you don't have the deep integration and understanding of what's happening on the physical server, what's happening on the physical network, and what's happening on the storage, how can you relate that back to how that virtual machine is either up or down, how it's performing? But what we've done, again, it was quite, I would say, quite a bold move of HP's to decide, well, for those customers that want to use HP's management, HP's inside control to manage their environment, of course, we've got our offering. But what we wanted to do is to acknowledge that in the virtual world, where many of you may be used to using, if it's in Microsoft world, it's going to be Microsoft System Center. If it's going to be in VMware, it's going to be VMware vCenter. How can we link our management tools to give the most seamless management capability that you can imagine in the virtual world? So again, as we look outside, when you come outside, we can demonstrate to you virtual center integration directly with the HP management tools. For those of you that are vCenter managers, vCenter managers, and you're used to seeing this, this is just a diagrammatic representation of what you can do from within vCenter to get down and manage the deep parts of your networking, of your storage, and of your servers themselves. So what we're offering is a single pane of glass. And whoever you may decide to choose to go for your infrastructure, I would implore you to make sure that you still have that single pane of glass management rather than those disparate management tools to manage the different things in your environment. And we continue to develop and build upon this. I'll just quickly go. And if you decide to come with HP and you look at our Insight Control software, Insight Control is the management tool that manages the servers, the network, etc. What you also get is if you look at a HP Insight Lights Out, you get the management, the advanced capabilities of Insight Lights Out, which means that you can now even get to your machines as the machines are booting up remotely across the network. The systems don't even need to be up, so you start to see what's happening as the systems are booting up. We've got virtual CD-ROM capability, so you can do a bare metal deployment of a server. You can't quite do that within vCenter yet. We're working on that. But you can bring those machines up, and the speed at which you view those virtual machines, it is almost like you're there. The last iteration of the ILO Lights Out engine, we speeded that up by 12 times. So when you're looking at the servers powering up, and you're just doing it across the network, it's just as though you were there. And with the same set of tools, we can look to understand how the servers are being managed, how much power that they're utilizing. We can cap the power of the server. We can now cap the power of the infrastructure, if it's a bladed architecture. We can even start to cap the power of the rack. And why is that important? Because power costs money. And many of the data centers that we go into, we find are kind of half filled, because people have looked at the faceplate and said, well, this particular server needs this much power. Well, actually, it may not need to. So we can cap the power. We can cap the power of the server. We can understand what's happening inside the servers. In all of the servers, we've got what we call sea of sensors. So you can understand where the power is being drawn, where the heat elements of the server is, and dynamically put the fans on inside the server to address the power requirement, the cooling requirement. So again, we'd implore you, have a look at our management tools. We think they're really important in the virtual world. So those are just, again, diagrammatic representations of our virtual systems. We've called them, maybe I'm not from marketing, VS, Virtual System 1, Virtual System 2, and Virtual System 3. But within that, you've also then got the flexibility to choose maybe the number of servers that you require, the amount of storage, but we very carefully lead you down the path of understanding the right configuration to meet what your needs are. In the Virtual System 1, based upon rack mount design, on Virtual System 2, based upon the, Virtual System 1 based upon rack mount, together with our P4800, which is based upon some of the technologies, the Virtual Systems architecture, or VSA architecture, with the P4500 storage area networking, and the 500 series networking. When we move up into the Virtual System 2, that's based upon a bladed architecture. On average, about a quarter of all of the servers that are now sold by HP are bladed architecture, for the very good reasons that hopefully you can come and have a chat with us about. And on the Virtual System 3, again a bladed architecture, but then this time utilizing 3-pass storage, which is an incredibly powerful storage, has incredibly powerful storage capabilities, specifically around the virtual world. So my little takeaways from those virtual systems, maybe not for everybody, but if you don't want to do this stuff yourself, or if you're a channel partner, if you don't want to be deciding the right systems, we've done it all. So we've taken away the work, experience gained by the joint deployments, working with VMware and VMware's partners. We've done the testing. As I mentioned, it's pre-configured, pre-wired, pre-tested, and all delivered as a complete solution. Benefits for you, of course, is making sure that you achieve that faster time to production. Because as we know, time is money. And I guess to finish it off, we've got the bladed systems mentioned. Quarter of all systems sold by HP servers are blades now. The virtual system, pre-packaged, pre-configured, pre-tested, everything delivered to you. And for those that require and need and wish to move into the cloud, we have HP Cloud System, which is full automation, not just of the virtual world, but automation of applications too. And this is just an idea of how virtual system was moved, and we move into cloud system matrix. For your environment, for your application workload, deploying a solution like this allows you to hit go. You hit go the infrastructure underneath is automatically provisioned. The application can be then automatically provisioned on top of that, should you so desire. We will automatically, continually, and constantly monitor the environment. And one thing that is a little different about this is that this works in the virtual and in the physical world. What do I mean by that? Well, if you have a workload that requires a virtual system, we will deploy it onto the virtual system. If, however, that workload starts to require more power and it needs to go onto a physical system, we can take that workload and automatically deploy it onto a physical, and if then so needed, redeploy it at a point in time in the future back onto another virtual system. So very powerful. Love to talk to you a little more about these. That traditional IT environment, which is very limited and fixed, we really do believe needs to move into that converged infrastructure world. If you're looking to move into the cloud, where we believe many are right now, people are looking at private clouds, people are looking at public clouds, many on offer, we would believe. Looking at managed services clouds, of course HP can offer that as well, or we can keep in the more traditional environment. Where we think the future is going is where we have workloads that can be deployed in a hybrid model, so the workload can be deployed on a public, on a private, internally, externally, when you need to burst out to Savis, for example, to get more power. Look to a cloud provider that can offer you that. We believe fundamentally that not all clouds are the same. And I thought that through when I was on my plane on the way over here. So that's my little picture out of the aircraft, not taken from Google or anywhere. But, you know, are all clouds the same? We don't believe so. Does the physical underlying architecture of the hardware matter in a cloud environment? We believe it really, really does. Does the service that you're getting from your cloud provider, from your channel partner, from whoever is serving you, does that really matter? I believe it really does. And do you, as entrepreneurs, as individuals, you know, do you really need to change how you're currently operating if you are today not in the physical world, not in the virtual world? Yeah, we really do think that you need to change. So in closing, we are so convinced that the power of the HP Generation 7 or Gen 8 servers will deliver, and we can back this up by white papers from the likes of IDC. We believe we can get a return on investment within a 5-month period with the ProLiant Gen 8 servers. But with the 3-pass storage, we believe that that will double or give you the capability of doubling your VM density. And we're so convinced that this architecture will allow you to do that, we will guarantee that you'll be able, from moving from your existing, whatever that may be, your existing storage infrastructure, moving into the 3-par, we believe you will be able to double your virtual machine, and we will guarantee it. And if for whatever reason we can't do that, we will supply the underlying infrastructure free of charge to get you up to that. That's how convinced that we are. Come and have a look. There are a number of different sessions taking place. Please come and visit us just outside, together with our esteemed partner, Bluebridge. We've got the HP 3-pass storage. We've got the new Gen 8 server, or an example of the ProLiant 360. We can play a lottery, lots of prizes, should be good. After this session, we've got a break, and then we do have, in the beta room, with Bluebridge, our partner, demonstrating 3-par. Be interesting to see that, I think. A little later this afternoon in the alpha room, I've mentioned Virtual Connect. Come and have a look. It's incredibly strong and powerful architecture for your virtual world. And please come and visit our website, come and talk to us. We really are there for you. So I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank VMware for the opportunity to stand in front of you, and I wish you a fantastic day. Thank you.